what point did data analytics become so relevant in the insurance industry?
I'd say data analytics has become very relevant in the guise that we know today, obviously very recently.
Yeah.
But the concept of understanding your customers has been there for many, many years. 20 years ago, or however long ago it might be, like an underwriter, for example, had their own insights and their own views into their customers because they knew them. That was relative to today.
Yeah.
It wasn't very scientific. In terms of the data analytics angle, I think it's fair to say it sort of started 15, 20 years ago, around 10 years. It emanated from this sort of central point where there was a need to understand risk better, and there was new information out there that could help in that aspect. But I tend to think of the adoption of data as we know it in insurance as like having a bit of a bell curve, because you did like 20 years ago you had the innovators, which were a very small group of companies in personal lines. I'd say there are a small group of companies that specialised in motor and home, and the main use case, as I sort of said at the start, was this sort of central point of understanding your underwriting risk better. So even moving from postcode rating to address point, for example, where you've got more accuracy around like flood risk, for example, was one of the key use cases that these personal lines insurers started to introduce around sort of 2005, and then everybody thought, oh, that's a good idea. And ultimately it began to spread because people saw the value of it. So you had the innovators, and then I'd say then that sort of sprung a bit of an early majority, and there was a couple more kind of sort of prompts or pushes in the right direction, such as I remember sort of 2009-10, there was a real kind of sort of bodily injury crisis in motor, for example. Like it became like the industry was losing quite a bit of money in certain perils. I'm saying there was some insurance underwriting events that triggered the need to find a new way. Like big IT transformations in order to sort of ingest the data, the actual companies themselves to actually distribute the data companies themselves to actually deliver the insights. They basically, Roger, spawned an entire industry at this point, and still going on today.